delightful comforts of my car. I am currently parked at a school, I think it is, just around the corner from St Mary's. In fact, I can see St Mary's Stadium right out of my window there. Got here nice and early, beat the traffic, and so I thought I'd pop on, and if any of you are around, preview what is a big game for Arsenal today at St Mary's. It's glorious sunshine here, I can assure you, even though you can't see it at the moment out of my car. Lovely day for football. Massive game for Arsenal. Now I tell you what, absolutely apologise here, but my phone is placed very precariously on my dashboard here, and I imagine at some point it's going to do a comical collapse and fall over, and everything is going to go get messed up. So apologies for that. I'm sure it will probably happen, but at the moment it's precariously placed kind of on top of my steering wheel and on my dashboard. So yeah, if it does fall over, apologies. I'll quickly put it back up. But anyway, I just wanted to say hello. And yeah, as I've got some free time, as I've got here nice and early, I've got about an hour until the stadium opens. I thought I'd pop on here, have a bit of a chat, take any questions that you guys have got, preview what is a big game for Arsenal today. So let's get going. Before I start taking any of your questions, I've already seen quite a few of you pop up in the chat already, which is good. I will... Sorry, Gilbert says, are you well? You sound a bit off. I hope not. Well, I think it's probably the sound in this car, because it's all... yeah, I'm all kind of confined in the car. It probably sounds a bit echoey or something like that. Avinish says I look tanned. I don't know if that's true. Unfortunately, not played as much golf as I'd want at the moment. But anyway, let's preview the game, and then I'll take some of your questions, shall we? In terms of team news-wise, I don't know if you saw my tweet last night, but as far as I understand it, Alexander Lacazette did not train again yesterday and wasn't at London Colney at all. As I reported from the press conference yesterday, he has been ill. Now, Mikel at the press conference seemed to be quite optimistic that Lacazette could still be involved today. But as far as I'm aware, he wasn't at training yesterday. He wasn't at London Colney. They left after training to come here to spend the night here at the hotel. And I don't think he was part of that travelling group unless he's come down later on and met them at the hotel or something like that. So as far as I'm aware, I don't think Lacazette is going to feature today. He might, you know, like I said, he might have driven down here today, might have got the all clear and been feeling better this morning and travelled down and met the squad later today. But as far as I'm aware, he did not. He certainly wasn't at training yesterday. He hasn't played a part in training for the last 3 days because of this illness. So you'd be very doubtful. I can't imagine he's going to be involved today, put it that way. So Arsenal are going to have a decision to make in terms of who plays up front. Personally, I've got a feeling it's going to be Eddie Nketiah. I would like to see Gabriel Martinelli start up front. I've got to say, as a central striker, he could play Smith Rowe on the left or Pepe on the left, have Odegaard and Saka there. And but I've got a feeling it'll be Nketiah. To be fair to Nketiah, I think he's done all right the last couple of games when he's come on the substitute bench. At least he's got involved and he's had a few goes. He hit the bar in both the last two games. He had that header that was saved right at the end of the Brighton game. So I think it'll probably be Nketiah, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we know there is no Tomiyasu. We know there's no Kieran Tierney. We know there's no Thomas Partey. So I think my predicted 11, and remember, this isn't the 11 that I want to see. This is the 11 that I think Mikel is going to go for. I've got a horrible feeling he's going to go with Xhaka at left back again today. I don't know if you saw the press conference yesterday. I asked him about it, and he seemed pretty defiant about it, as he often does get when you question his team selection, his tactics. He got a little bit spiky, I thought, a little bit defensive on it. He said that Xhaka wasn't the reason Arsenal lost. Xhaka at left back wasn't the reason Arsenal lost. And that might actually be the case. But I think the reason Arsenal lost last weekend, maybe not just been Xhaka left back, but it was a result of Xhaka going left back, because what that did was unbalance the whole midfield. It completely mucked up the attack because Odegaard was too deep. So that's why Arsenal lost last week. But I've got a horrible feeling, knowing Mikel as I do, he's pretty stubborn. Well, he's very stubborn. And I've got a horrible feeling we're going to see Xhaka at left back again today. But we'll have to wait and see. So my predicted 11 for today, this is what I think Mikel's going to go for. Ramsdale in goal, Cedric right back, White Gabriel centre back, Xhaka left back, Sambi Lokonga. Then I think he's probably going to go Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Saka, Martinelli, Nketiah. That's what I predict he's going to do. It's not what I would do. As I said, I would like to see Martinelli as a central striker. Then I'd have I think I'd go with Pepe. I'd try Pepe because Smith Rowe's been a bit off the last few games. I'd go Pepe on the left, Odegaard, and Saka, and then I'd have Xhaka and Lokonga sort of holding as a midfield too, and then I'd have Tavares left back, the two centre backs we know, and then Cedric right back. But let's have a go. Someone just said, "Do you think Arteta watches your videos?" No, I don't think he does. I think he has enough of me when he sees me during the week. Like, he's not going to come and pop on and watch my videos, unfortunately. Someone just said they like my polo shirt. I wear this all the time. You've probably noticed at all the games that I'm at, it's always this one. I can't wear Arsenal merchandise, obviously, and this is Fred Perry. Other clothing items are available, but it's red, and so I always wear it to Arsenal games. So obviously I can't wear club colours, but I can wear red, which is what I always do. It's my lucky shirt. Unfortunately, it hasn't been lucky the last 2 games, and I've got my red socks on as well, my lucky socks, which I always wear. But again, they haven't been very lucky the last couple of games, but got to keep doing it, haven't I? Right, so that's the latest when it comes to team news. That's when it comes to Granit Xhaka, when it comes to Alexander Lacazette. So I'm going to come and answer some of your questions now. Now, apologies, you'll probably see my finger pop up on the screen now because I'm going to start scrolling through. Here we go. Harvey, what striker do you personally want in the summer? Erling Haaland. That's who I want in the summer. It's not going to happen, but that's what I want in the summer. In terms of who do I think it could be, I just don't know at this point. Arsenal got a lot of lists. I've got a big list of who they might go for. You know, I like the look of Darwin Núñez, but you know, will he cut it coming from Portugal to the Premier League? Is he going? You know, it's a risk at the sort of money that Benfica are going to want. I personally wouldn't be totally against Calvert-Lewin. I know a lot of you will, but I think Calvert-Lewin's a decent player. He's had a bad season. He's been done by injuries, but I wouldn't be against Calvert-Lewin coming for Arsenal. I like Ivan Toney as well at Brentford. I've got to say, and he's having a strong end to the season. I think he's done well in his first season in the Premier League. I've liked what I've seen with him with his link-up play. So I wouldn't be against a signing like Ivan Toney, but you know, unfortunately for Arsenal, especially if they miss out in the Champions League, they're gonna kind of be shopping in that basket kind of below the elite strikers, aren't they? So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Who doesn't like signing a striker in the summer? It's always exciting anyway. Emmanuel says, do you think Tavares has a future at the club now? I hope so. I mean, if you can't just cut a player off because of a couple of bad performances. So I hope he's got a future at Arsenal. And I think he showed at the start of this season that he's a decent enough player. Yes, he's having a bad run of things, but you know, he should have started last weekend against Brighton. I'm absolutely adamant of the case. And yes, I know Arteta's a manager, but you know, he should have started, absolutely. Gunnar Dread says no DCL for me, thanks. I think a lot of people agree with you there. William says, hello Charles, greetings from Australia. Loves the videos. Thank you very much, William. I hope you're well in Australia, wherever you are in the land of Oz. Love that country so much. Spent so much time there. Lived there for a year in 2000, 2001. Loads of my family are there. Love Australia. Can't wait to come back again. And whenever that is, got to convince my wife to do a 24-hour journey on a plane. It's going to take some convincing, trust me. Luke said they take DCL as a backup striker if ever get relegated, probably for 25 million. It's going to cost a lot more than 25 million to get Calvert-Lewin, even if Everton get relegated. Mark says, did Tomiyasu travel? Not as far as I'm aware. No. What was that one? Sorry, just missing one. Akash says, morning Charles, could you please tell me that we're not signing Morata? I can't tell you that for now, unfortunately, because Arsenal don't even know who they're signing at the moment in the summer. So it's impossible for me to say that. Yam says, Arteta is a problem. We need to score goals and he only plays one striker. Indeed, Yams, I think with Arteta, and I know it's annoying to always say you got to sort of give time, but I think it's tough to judge Arteta in terms of Arsenal going forward at the moment because he's never signed a striker. This summer, that's all going to change. Arsenal are going to sign more than one forward, and I think after that is that you can really judge Arteta when it comes to his attacking intent, because at the moment he's built kind of this team, he's built the defence, he's building the midfield, but he's not built the strike force. If anything, he's got rid of the strike force and he's not replaced it all. So I think we're going to learn a lot about Arteta and whether he can build a team that scores goals next season by the forwards that he plays and the forwards that he buys and how the team goes, because let's face it, at the moment he's kind of going with, you know, he's going with a forward line of Alexander Lacazette and Eddie Nketiah, which, you know, not many teams are going to get many goals out of at the moment. Dean says, would you like Lautaro in the summer? I would like Lautaro in the summer. I like Lautaro Martinez. I think he's an exciting player, but I just don't. I've still got that issue of Serie A to the Premier League. You don't often see it being a success, and I always worry about that when it comes to signing someone from Italy. But he looks like a very good striker, no doubt about it. But I always have that doubt about signing especially a forward from Serie A. Mick, what's your handicap, Charles? At the moment, I'm playing off 19, Mick. I barely play at the moment. It's always impossible with young kids and with this job. But when a fair few years ago, before kids arrived, when I was playing an awful lot, I was down to around the sort of 11 mark. I've shot, I think 6 over par was my best score ever. But at the moment, I play barely ever. And so at the moment, my handicap's up to 19, which my mates all moan about. But it's a true handicap. This El Nino, or whoever you are, who keep spamming in the comments. I don't know what you're doing, but you've probably got better things to do this morning than do that. But by all means, keep plugging away. CJM from the Philippines says 2-0 Arsenal today. Harrison says, do you have any info about any financial fair play we may encounter in the summer? I don't, Harrison, to be honest. No, I don't think Arsenal are going to have too much of a problem with that this summer. Let's see what this one is from Adam. Hi, Charles. Do you think that ESR and Martinelli have much chemistry on the pitch? Is it a lack of playing time or the fact they compete for a spot? Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's certainly not, those two certainly haven't got the sort of chemistry that you see Saka and Odegaard play. To be fair, you don't see Odegaard and Martinelli on the pitch together that much. They're not being that used to it. So it's probably understandable we don't perhaps see that link up that that Saka and Odegaard have. Spurs going to drop points today, he says. Diddly squat against Brighton. Don't know about that. I think that Tottenham are just looking so good at the moment. The Kane's playing so well. Son's playing so well. It's tough to see them dropping points against Brighton. Let's see, what was this from Alex? Will we sign a first-choice starting midfielder to upgrade on Xhaka next summer? Yes, I believe Arsenal will, Alex. Who that will be, I don't know yet. I think they're certainly in the mix when it comes to signing Tielemans from Leicester. I know for a fact that they like him. They've held talks about signing him. His agent's been at the training ground. Whether they get him remains to be seen, because there's going to be a lot of clubs in for Tielemans in the summer. Luke, how much money is available? It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible to predict that. I think they'll have a good amount of money wherever they finish this season. I think they'll make some big signings in the summer, but I can't put a figure on it. It's just impossible. To be honest, I'm not sure there is a budget. Everyone always bands around transfer budgets, but I'm not sure there even is one. It depends on so many factors. Depends on what sort of deals you do with clubs, because you don't pay all the money in once. You pay it, you have it staggered over the years of the contract. So, it's always good it makes good headlines banding around a transfer budget, but I don't really think there ever is one. Gilbert, you should consult Rob Holding. Yes, I probably should, Gilbert. He's had a hell of a success with his hair this season, hasn't he? And I certainly could do with that, but I'm not. Unfortunately, my job doesn't pay me enough to be able to spend that sort of money on a hair transplant. And look, I'm 40. I've got 2 kids. I've already hooked up with my wife. Why do I need to bother about my hair anymore? I'm nice and comfortable. Don't worry about it. Ozone says Martinelli is more of a striker than Jota. Why does Mikel start him like Klopp does? Yeah, it's true. I'd like to see Martinelli play as a central striker today, no doubt about it. I think it'll be Eddie, but I would like to. I'd like to see Martinelli get a go there. I know the centre backs. If you're the centre backs and you look at your team sheet at 2 p.m. and you have Eddie Nketiah there, or you have Gabriel Martinelli there, I know who you'd be more worried about, and it's not Nketiah. Harrison says, I feel we may be in a sticky situation. If we are losing El Neni and Nketiah, Lacazette, we already need 2 or 3 players minimum. I can't see us signing another 4 on top of that. Look, they're going to have to. The squad's already small. They're going to have, hopefully, fingers crossed, European football. It might not be the Champions League, but it's going to be European football. They can't afford to have as small a squad as they've had this year. Mo says, "Hi Charles, what did you think of Stone Cold's match?" I thought it was all right, to be honest. A street fight, you can't go much wrong with it, can you? You don't have to do too much wrestling. I thought the stunner on Vince was hilarious. Just the worst sell by Vince ever. But no, I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, Kevin Owens is so good, such a good performer that he can carry anyone, even a 48-year-old. Austin. William says, "Studying in Sydney, going to buy you a beer if you convince your wife to come here." I'll take you up on that, William. A beer in Sydney, though, costs a hell of a lot of money. Oh, good times in Sydney. Lived there, lived in King's Cross for a year. Well, no, about 8 months, actually. Brilliant. Oh, such a good time. Take me back. Do you like... Update on Charlie Patino. Update is he's back fit again after an injury, which is good. He's played for the under-23s last week, and I think he'll be involved in the squad quite a bit between now and the end of the season. Whether he's here today, I don't know. There'll be a few youngsters here today. Patino might be one of them, but I think they might want to give him a few more games first in the under-23s because he's been out for a fair while with that injury. Oscar asks if good strikers like Nunez and I can never pronounce the Napoli guy's name. Someone tell me how you pronounce it properly. But the Napoli striker, Osmien, however you call it, will come here. Yes, why not? You know, this is Arsenal, it's London, it's big money. Yes, they might not play Champions League football next season. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case. But I don't see why. You know, Arsenal can still attract decent players. Absolutely, they can. Oshiman, says Luke. Well, if that's very easy, if that is the case. So thank you very much, Luke. Although someone else is... Everyone's putting different pronunciations on there now. Who we got? Oshheimen, says one. Ozyman, says another. You're all giving me different pronunciations. But anyway, yes, I do think Arsenal could still get him. I'm not sure. Ozzyman, someone says there. That's a good one. I think it's very hard to sign him just because he's at Napoli, and it's so hard to sign players from Napoli. He's exciting. Again, it's that whole Serie A thing that I've just got this massive red flags waving around when it comes to signing forwards from Serie A. But you know, he looks like he could do a job in the Premier League, no doubt about it. If we get a pen, who's taking it? Well, if Pepe's on the pitch today, I think he'll be taking it. I don't think he will be, but I think he. Hopefully, if he is. If not, God, who would take Arsenal's penalty if Pepe's not on the pitch? Maybe Martinelli. Definitely not Saka. Maybe Martinelli. I don't know. Who do you think? Xhaka? It'll be an interesting one. Odegaard? Yeah, maybe Odegaard. People seem to be thinking Odegaard would take the penalties in the comments here. Rory says it. Adam says it. No, Oscar, I don't think Tavares will be sold in the summer. I'd be really disappointed if he would be, because look, we saw in the start of the season, he's a talented player. He's got all the tools to be a real talented player. He just needs good coaching. And I think Arteta's mismanaged him terribly the last couple of weeks, to be honest. I think he's been really harshly treated, and he should have started against Brighton 100%. Joseph, what do you think of Nkunku? What season he's had this season? You got to, you know, Unai Emery wanted him when he was at Arsenal. Unai Emery didn't get him, and you think, you know, it was good. Certainly good talent ID from Unai Emery there. And again, he wasn't backed, the same as he wasn't backed when he wanted to sign Zaha, and Arsenal signed Pepe instead. So, you know, unlucky Emery there on those two occasions. And you know, Nkunku now would have cost nothing, but virtually, if Arsenal had got him when he was at PSG, now he'd cost an absolute fortune. Tell you one player I'd love Arsenal to sign. Not going to happen, obviously, but bring Gnabry back from Bayern. You know, he's the exact sort of player Arsenal will want, I think, this summer. That sort of position. Again, I think they'll sign one central striker, and they'll sign one player who can play across the forward line, either out wide or as a central striker. Gnabry's got that Arsenal connection. Only a year left on his contract, I think. You know, he hasn't signed a new one yet. I'd love Arsenal to really push the boat out and try and sign him. It won't happen, I know it won't. But, you know, I'd love Arsenal to go and get him. Emmanuel, Gnabry, Pepe sort of deal. I'm not sure Bayern will be up for that, do you think? Gary, great questions you gave Arteta yesterday. Thank you very much, Gary. It's good to be back there for the first time. It's the first time I've had a chance to ask a question to Arteta in a pre-match press conference for about 5 months. Because of the way it's all done now, whoever asks the question, it's kind of selected beforehand because whoever's there, and it's all broadcast rights holders and stuff and the whole Zoom era. But yesterday was the first fully open press conference we've had since the start of the pandemic. So it's good to be actually down there and be able to ask questions again. Ella says Granite for the armband. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who gets the armband today. Without Lacazette, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Odegaard, to be honest. But with no Tierney, it could be Granite, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Odegaard. Ozone says Charles, does Mikel have a man management problem? It's an interesting one. I think in some ways he's a great man manager, Arteta, and players certainly tell you that. But I think if you fall out of line with him, if he doesn't fancy you for some reason, or something happens where he just seems to go cold on players, and I have spoken to people in and around the squad, who, when they're not in the picture, when they're not, in the starting 11, they can feel a little bit left out and forgotten about, and they don't really get reasons why, and Arteta doesn't really tell him exactly why he doesn't fancy him at the moment. So I think it's hit and miss when it comes to Arteta with his man management skills. I think if you're in the team and he's using you and he likes what you're doing, I think he's great and the players really feel connected. But if you're just on the outside a little bit, players can kind of feel a little bit frozen out under him. Alex says, is there truth in Eden Hazard rumours? I don't think so. Not that I've heard. And I'd be stunned if there were. Just because, A, how injury prone he is, B, his age, it's just totally, what his wages would be, it's totally out of keeping of what Arsenal are trying to do when it comes to the transfer market at the moment. So I'd be stunned. I've certainly not heard anything about Hazard and Arsenal. What do you think about Gakpo, says Salim? To be honest, I just don't know much about him. It's not one that I've heard of. I've seen the rumours, I've seen the links, but I've just not seen anything of him really. And so I can't really give my view on him in terms of what he's like as a player and would he fit in well. I just don't know. I haven't seen enough of him. William Part 2 equals Hazard, someone said there. Ozone, is Guendouzi a done deal? Yes, that's a done deal. It will happen. He'll sign permanently for Marseille in the summer. Dan says, listen to you as I walk around Paris. Thanks, Charles, for all you do. Such bad memories of Paris, Dan. Beautiful city, obviously, but honestly, the times I've been there, I was there in 1995 as a fan, as a 14-year-old, watching Arsenal lose to Real Zaragoza in the Cup Winners' Cup final, 9 from the halfway line. I was there in 2006, watching us lose the Champions League final with my dad. Oh, just such bad memories of Paris. Emmanuel says, have you watched Granite's Players Tribune video? Yes, I did. I thought it was really, really good. Thoughts on Mika Birif, says Rory. I think he's had a very good first season for the 23s. I don't think you can really throw him into the first team now, but he's had a good first season for the 23s. People that I speak to around the club are pretty excited about him. But I think he needs. I think probably next season you send Birif out on loan. I don't think you want to be throwing him near the first team yet. Ella says, what's the latest on Lucas Torreira? I think Arsenal absolutely want to sell Torreira this summer. I think he'll go to Fiorentina. Fiorentina can raise the money. They haven't got a option to make it permanent. That wasn't included in the deal, not like the Guendouzi one. But Fiorentina are delighted with Torreira. Torreira's really settled there. Arsenal were happy to let Torreira go, so I think that will happen in the summer. Adam says Arteta's selling decisions have been consistently poor. Yep, I agree with that. I think Arsenal and Arteta's selling positions have been poor. I think Arteta hasn't helped with the value of a lot of players that he doesn't seem to like. And, I think Arsenal have had to sell players on the cheap, and they will have to sell players on the cheap this summer because of that. Cam says, blooding in Lino Sousa. Look, it's a big ask. He's only just arrived at the club. So it'd be a big ask. Gary says, do you ever get told not to ask certain questions in a press conference? No, never. I've been reporting on Arsenal for 5 years, been a football reporter for 15 years. Never once have I ever been told not to ask a question at a press conference. It couldn't happen. There's no way a club could say, don't ask a question. I know conspiracy theorists on the internet and like to say that. Other fans like to say that, oh, you're told not to ask these questions. It's utter rubbish, honestly. And I can say that with my hand on my heart. Just does not happen. You could not be told in a open press conference not to ask a question. The manager would be well in his right not to answer a question if he wanted to, but you could never say don't ask a question. It's just not, no, wouldn't happen. What's the news linking us to Josh Doig as a potential Tierney replacement? I know Arsenal liked him last year. We're having a good look at him. I haven't heard that that's something they're going to revisit this summer. I don't know. Someone says it sounds like Xhaka is going to stay. I'm not convinced by that at all. I know I saw his comments in the Players Tribune video, and that's understandable. But I still wouldn't be at all surprised if Xhaka goes this summer. What about Maitland-Niles? Is Roma signing him? I don't think so, Kwame. It's not been a great loan for Maitland-Niles at Roma, has it? I don't think they're going to sign him on a permanent basis. Adam, did you ever get snubbed for questions after asking a tough one? No. I mean, look, it's different in this Zoom era because of the way it all works. Everyone's not just sitting around in the room, hands up, asking questions and just throwing questions out there. It's all very different in the Zoom era. It's had to be managed a lot more, and so like certain rights holders who pay their money, like Sky, the BBC, TalkSport, they always have to ask a question, and so it's been very difficult to always get questions. Like I said, I haven't been on the panel. Arsenal have been doing it. They've had like panelists who ask the questions and at pre-match press conferences, and they tend to be the rights holders, and I haven't been on that. But now, like I said yesterday, it was an open press conference for the first time in a long time, and it was back to normal. Has Bergkamp travelled? Said David. I saw he was at the Emirates yesterday. God, I wish even a 55-year-old Dennis or however old he is now, I'd love to see him out here, I have to say. But yeah, who has a higher ceiling, says Ozone, Guendouzi or Sambi? I mean, how do you even answer this question? I have no idea. Both of them hugely talented. I think Sambi's been really unfairly criticised after last weekend. You look at Sambi's numbers this season, he's done very, very well for his first season. Arsenal, he was not expected to play the amount of minutes he played at the start of the season. Then throwing him in last week after he's barely played, he was on a hide into nothing, especially in the midfield without Xhaka or Partey next to him. And I actually thought he did pretty well in the second half after a difficult first half. So I think they've both got high ceilings in answer to your question. Apologies if my internet just dropped out there. Apologies if my internet just dropped out there. I'm doing this all on 4G on my phone in a car park at the moment, so sorry if that went out. I am going to cut this short soon because I've been talking for about half an hour, and I'm soon going to start making my way over towards the stadium to see if I can get in because I want to watch the Tottenham game, hopefully watch them lose, but we will have to wait and see. Francois, have our loanees still have a future at Arsenal? Some of them perhaps, certainly the younger players, Balogun, for example, but a lot of the big names, and well, hopefully Saliba as well. A lot of the other bigger names are out on loan, not really. Martial up front? No, not for me. Emmanuel, you should do it. What was that? Let me have a look. That's an idea. You should do a day in the life type vid on an away day. But unfortunately, my away days are pretty boring. It's not like I'm with the away fans, unfortunately. It's like now I'm sitting in a car and I'm going to walk to get into the press room, sit in a press room, wait for the team news, go out, sit in the stands, and then report. It's not going to be an exciting video, unfortunately. It's a lot. Trust me, it's a lot more fun being a fan watching these away days than it is. When will you fix the wiring in the studio? Where's this question? In your home studio? It's not my home studio, GS. It's my it's my dining room at home. Well, I say dining room. It is basically a toy room. If I angled the camera down a little bit, trust me, you'd see why I'm not bothered about doing the wiring in that place. It's an absolute state, that room. It's full with 5 million toys that are just all over the place. And so there is literally no need for me to do the wiring in that room. And I know it annoys a lot of you because I see all your comments, but it's just honestly, there's no point. That room is such a state that I can't I can't be bothered to do it. I really can't. Yam says, Charles, will you go to the US of Arsenal in the pre-season? I wish I could, but I don't think I'm going to be this summer. Again, it's just because of my dad duties. The kids are still going to be at school. I need to do the school run because my wife works. It's just going to be impossible for me to have the time off to do the pre-season tour this summer, I think, which is a shame because I'd love to come over there, but I don't think it's going to be the case. Is there a place for Saliba next season, says Paul? Absolutely. Absolutely there's a place for Saliba next season. As long as he's willing to come and fight for his place in the team and not just demand to be starting, then yes, there is a place for him. Tate, opinion on Robin van Persie. Brilliant player, great for Arsenal. Can't stand him now because I hate the way he left and he totally done Wenger over and I hated the whole way he announced it. I can't stand him. Can't stand him at all. But brilliant player, amazing player, was brilliant for Arsenal, amazing for Man United. Loved him as a player, but can't stand him now, I'm afraid. Will you watch the Spurs game? Yes, I will, Gary. I'll get in there for the pre-match. I'll get in there when the press room opens and I shall watch it. Sakaya, hello mate. Hope you're well. Good bumping into you the other day with my dad in Maidenhead. Would Fabregas be welcome back to the club? I mean, he gets on well with Arteta, so I imagine he probably would. I know, Lacazette, Fabregas did not leave on great terms when it comes to Arsenal, and it was a long time ago, obviously. So I'm sure he would, but there'd be people at the club that remember the way he left. But I'm sure he probably would. I'm not sure it's going to happen. I'd much rather see Santi Cazorla come back to Arsenal in a coaching capacity than Cesc Fabregas, put it that way. Adam, RVP was right about the lack of ambition. He might have been, yeah, he might have been. But look, how much time did Arsenal invest in Robin van Persie? How much money did they give him to be injured for so much? And then when he finally gets himself fit, has a great season, he legs it. No, and it's a fan. That's me as a fan talking. I can absolutely understand why he did it. And look, he was proved right. He got himself a trophy, a Premier League trophy, but can't stand him, I'm afraid. But what a player, amazing player. Alex says, will Pepe leave this summer? I don't know on Pepe. It's decision time, basically, when it comes to Pepe. He's going to have 2 years left on his contract. You'd think Arsenal, if they don't want him to get down to the final year. And so if they're not going to give him a new contract, which I'd be surprised at, because let's face it, Arteta's not playing him, they'll want to get rid of him and try and get as much money as they possibly can. So it wouldn't surprise me if he sold it. The only issue is a club going to take him? Arsenal are definitely going to have to take a massive hit when it comes to money on him because they're not going to get anywhere near 72 million for him. They won't even get half that. So will a club take him because he's on big wages? So it won't be easy to get rid of Pepe. Riyadh says, what central midfield players would you like to see Arsenal sign in summer? I'd like them to sign Ruben Neves. I'd have liked him sign Neves last season. Last summer, I think they would have signed Neves last summer. I think it was pretty close to happening. And then the whole Xhaka to Roma thing fell through, and that was that. But I'd like Neves. I think Neves has been great for Wolves this season as well. He's shown how good a player he is, and I think Neves would be great in the Premier League. He's still young. He's already adjusted to the Premier League. He knows what it's about. I think it'd be really, really good. I'd like Tielemans as well, especially if he's going to be available for 25 million, which apparently he is. That would be an absolute bargain if that's the case. No, I wouldn't sell Gabriel for the right price, says Sam. I think I did a video on this. I just think it just sends out all the right messages. This is Arteta bangs on about this being a process. Arsenal talk about this being a process. You can't build a process if you're selling your best players. You've got to move on from that if you're Arsenal. You can't, we've gone through that time of Arsenal having to sell their best players. You can't sell Gabriel in the summer. No way. Absolutely no way. People asking about Guendouzi to return. No, it's not going to happen. He's not coming back, I'm afraid. Cam Gabriel sort of Pedri or Gavi. Yeah, maybe I'll take that. No, Tim McTwo. No score predictions from me. Gabriel Jesus has come to Arsenal, says Victor. Not sure about that. Blessing, what do you think about Ivan Toney playing for Arsenal? I spoke about that earlier in this video, Blessing. You obviously weren't watching it then. I think I wouldn't be against Arsenal signing Toney. I think he's had a good season, and he's getting better as the season progresses as well. So yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that at all. Can Arsenal win the league in the next 3 years? Ozone, no, I don't think. Well, they can. Obviously, anyone can, but no, I can't see it. Liverpool, Man City are just too strong. Arsenal are still so far behind them; it's unreal. 3 years, just can't see it. Divesh says, should Arteta be sacked for missing out on top 4? No, I don't think he should. No, I don't think he should. I think it's his own. He can be blamed because of what happened in January, and I think Arsenal weakening in January was just ridiculous. But I don't think he should be sacked if they get 4th, because I still think we've seen an awful lot of progress this season, and that hopefully, if they can get the strike force in this summer, they're going to be even stronger next season. Big FA Cup game today, someone said there. Yeah, who's that? Aidan Wheeler. Yeah, it is a big FA Cup game today. Unfortunately, Arsenal aren't in it, but yes, it's a big FA Cup game. Fancy Liverpool for that, I've got to say, against Man City. I think Liverpool are just going to have the edge. I think City's game in midweek in Madrid is just going to take it out of them a little bit. Alex asks, Arteta or Emery? I'm still going with Arteta, I'm afraid. Emery just didn't work at Arsenal. I know a lot of you will be saying that Arteta hasn't worked either. That might be the case, but Emery had to go. No doubt about it. It had just all gone wrong behind the scenes. Everything on the pitch, behind the scenes, it had gone wrong. Brilliant that he's doing so well for Villarreal. Congratulations. But I don't think Arsenal were going to go anywhere under Emery, and he had to go. I still think that under Arteta that they've got a chance of really sort of pushing on. But yeah, it's going to be a shame how this season's going to end up. Well, it looks like it might end up. Kevin says, where is Charlie Patino? As I said earlier in this video, you obviously weren't watching. He's been suffering. He's had an injury. He's been out for a couple of months. He's just come back. Had 1 game for the 23s. He could be involved today, but I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal want him to get a couple more games for the 23s before they bring him back into the first team squad for these sort of games. I think there'll be plenty of youngsters on the bench. Wouldn't be surprised if Birev's here today. We've seen Amari Hutchinson potentially as well. I imagine those 2 will probably be on the bench. So yeah, maybe Patino will make it, but we'll have to wait and see. No, I wouldn't sell Tierney at the right price. Whoever that was who asked the question, as I said, I don't want Arsenal to be selling their best players now. I think when you're building a process, the last thing you want to be doing is selling your best players in the summer, because it's just going backwards rather than going forwards. Adam says, I'm not seeing enough progress. I think the progress for me is been undeniable this season. I think there's still a long way to go. I know that, and it's frustrating because you don't want time in football. But I think the progress has been undeniable, considering that Arsenal have been doing this all without any forwards as well. And I think that's just the next step. I think the defence has been improved massively. I think the midfield, definitely with Partey at his best, has improved. I still think they need to improve on Granit Xhaka, and I think they will in the summer. But when you've got no forwards, out forwards, then you're going to always struggle. And, we've not seen Arsenal sort that out yet, and they will this summer. So, touch wood, I think if they can get themselves some decent forwards in the summer who are actually going to score goals, so you're not relying on basically kids out wide to score you the goals, then I think we're going to hopefully see Arsenal kick on. I mean, it's going to be more difficult next season because you imagine Man United are going to be better. Tottenham, especially if they get Champions League under Conte, are going to be better and stronger. So it's going to be very hard for Arsenal again next season. But I still think I've seen enough sign of progress to suggest, they can be decent again next year if they get decent forwards in. Right, everyone, I'm going to go now, I'm afraid, because I've been talking for 40 minutes and I've absolutely rinsed my 4G. and I am going to start walking over towards the stadium very, very soon. So, look, thank you very much for joining me. Thanks for all the questions. Delighted to sit here and spend a bit of time. I haven't done one of these Q&As for a while, so it's been great to sit here and talk to you and answer your questions. Thanks so much for joining. I will be heading over to the stadium in a minute. So keep an eye out. I'll try and do my usual pre-match thing, do my live vid for the warm up, so you can watch some of the warm ups. We'll have a chat about the team news and all that sort of thing. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That'll probably only be in a couple of hours or so now. I don't even know what the time is, to be honest. I feel like I've been sitting here for a fair while though. We're over the 40-minute mark. So keep your eyes peeled for all that. And yeah, check out my social media around 2 o'clock for all the latest when it comes to the team news as well. Wherever you're watching around the world today, enjoy yourself. Fingers crossed we can celebrate 3 big points. It's going to be a really important game for Arsenal. Have a very good day wherever you are. Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon.